Across the African grasslands, life is never truly still. Every zebra carries a stripe pattern as individual as a fingerprint. Yet when the herd gathers tightly, black and white lines merge into a shifting wall, making it difficult for a predator to isolate a single animal from the crowd. This is their first layer of defense. In the distance, wildebeest begin to move. There is no signal, no marked road, and no map to follow. They travel by the scent of rain, the color of new grass, and a memory carried through countless generations. From this moment forward, the journey is no longer simply migration. It is a moving test of endurance, instinct, and survival. When one wildebeest accelerates, the entire herd reacts. Dust rises as heavy bodies surge forward like a living river. In this world, falling behind by only a few seconds can mean being left alone, but the apparent chaos is not without order. Calves remain near the center, while stronger adults form a moving barrier around them. Then across the dry grass, another force comes into view: African buffalo. They are not the fastest animals on the plain, and they do not depend on agility. Their advantage is collective strength. When hundreds move and defend together, the herd becomes a challenge that even a pride of lions must approach with patience, caution, and respect. When one wildebeest accelerates, the entire herd reacts. Dust rises as heavy bodies surge forward like a living river. In this world, falling behind by only a few seconds can mean being left alone, but the apparent chaos is not without order. Calves remain near the center, while stronger adults form a moving barrier around them. Then across the dry grass, another force comes into view: African buffalo. They are not the fastest animals on the plain, and they do not depend on agility. Their advantage is collective strength. When hundreds move and defend together, the herd becomes a challenge that even a pride of lions must approach with patience, caution, and respect. A buffalo separated from the herd may become a target, but reaching it is never easy. Hidden in the low grass, a lion studies every step, waiting for fatigue, hesitation, or a gap in the formation. A successful hunt is not based on strength alone. It is a calculation of distance, wind direction, timing, and risk. Today, the buffalo remain tightly organized. The predator cannot find an opening. As the tension begins to fade, enormous shapes enter the landscape. African elephants arrive slowly and calmly, yet their presence immediately changes the rhythm of the land. Every footstep carries weight, and every path they choose may influence the movements of many smaller animals around them. For elephants, water is far more than something to drink. It is a place where the family rests, cools its body, and renews social bonds. A trunk can draw water, detect scent, lift a tiny branch, and touch a calf with remarkable gentleness. Adult females form a natural shield, keeping the youngest elephants within a safe distance. They remember routes to water holes, places that once held food, and regions where danger was encountered years before. During a severe dry season, the memory of an experienced matriarch can determine the fate of the entire family. On the savanna, knowledge is inherited through behavior, and memory can be every bit as valuable as size, speed, or physical strength. The elephants leave the open grassland behind, creating paths that smaller species may later use. Soon, an animal with an ancient appearance steps into the sunlight, the rhinoceros. Its massive body, folded skin, and prominent horn make it look like an armored vehicle shaped by nature. But a tough exterior does not mean the animal lacks sensitivity. Rhinos hear extremely well and possess a powerful sense of smell. What they lack is clear vision at long range. For that reason, a sudden movement nearby can trigger a response far faster than their heavy appearance might suggest. The rhino may seem slow and deliberate, but when uncertainty becomes danger, this giant is capable of explosive speed. A rhinoceros spends much of its day searching for grass, leaves, and mud that can cool and protect its skin. Each step appears heavy, yet when necessary it can accelerate with surprising force. The horn is not made of bone. It consists of tightly packed keratin, the same basic material found in hair and fingernails, but it is strong enough to serve as an effective defensive weapon. Across a wide territory, rhinos leave scent marks and follow familiar trails. They may live alone, but they are never completely disconnected. Tracks in the soil, odors left on vegetation, and distant sounds create a silent communication network between animals that may rarely stand beside one another. Two rhinoceroses appear together on the grassland, showing that even animals known for solitary lives sometimes tolerate companionship. They keep a measured distance, observing one another and exchanging more information through scent than sound. Ahead, the water opens into an entirely different world. A hippopotamus has its eyes, ears, and nostrils positioned high on the head. Almost the whole body can remain submerged while the animal continues to see, hear, and breathe. During the heat of day, the river becomes a refuge. As darkness approaches, bodies weighing several tons will leave the water and travel onto land to feed. Their lives depend on moving safely between these two very different environments. A hippopotamus may appear peaceful when only its eyes break the surface, but the space around it must be respected. Within its territory, a mature male can react aggressively to any intruder. On land, scavenging birds gather around the remains of a kill. They are nature's sanitation crew, removing dead tissue before disease can spread across the ecosystem. From the dry grassland, the landscape rises toward mist-covered mountains. Moist forest emerges, marking a transition from a wide, open world into a dense green kingdom where sunlight rarely reaches the ground. Here, visibility is limited, movement is hidden by vegetation, and survival depends on recognizing subtle sounds, scents, and signals within the shadows. In the mountain forest, gorillas move with surprisingly little noise. Their immense bodies contrast with a diet made largely of leaves, young stems, and fruit. A group is usually led by a silverback male, but his authority comes from more than physical power. He chooses resting places, intervenes in disputes, and places himself between the family and danger. Young gorillas learn by watching their mothers and older members. Every branch selected, every plant tasted, and every route through the forest becomes part of their education. In a world filled with unfamiliar sounds, the strongest protection is not aggression alone. It is the stability of the group and the close social bonds that hold the family together. The silverback watches the forest with the calm of an animal that understands his position. When he moves, the group adjusts around him. No obvious command is required. Order is maintained through posture, eye contact, touch, and low vocal sounds. Beyond the gorilla's range, a troop of brightly colored primates appears. The vivid skin on their faces and bodies is not simply decoration. It can signal age, health, reproductive condition, and social rank. In dense forest, where trees restrict visibility, strong colors help individuals recognize one another quickly. Their appearance may seem dramatic to human eyes, but within the troop it forms part of a complex language, allowing relationships and intentions to be read at a glance. The primates move as a community built from many layers of relationship. Infants remain close to their mothers. Young animals test one another in brief chases, while adults repeatedly scan the surroundings. They search for fruit, seeds, insects, and whatever food becomes available with the season. Calls passing through the canopy help the troop remain connected when vegetation blocks the view. As the sun drops lower, the forest darkens and the distant grassland turns red. Sunset is not merely the end of a day. For many species, it is a signal to leave shelter, begin feeding, return to a resting place, or prepare for a night when familiar paths can become far more dangerous. Across the dry earth, a mother rhinoceros leads her calf through fine dust. During the first months of life, the young animal depends completely on her to find water, locate food, and recognize danger. It learns to read scent marks, remember paths, and understand when movement is safer than standing still. The mother often positions her own body between the calf and any possible threat. Her horn and enormous weight form a powerful barrier, but her greatest protection is experience. Every day spent following her steps adds another detail to the calf's mental map of survival. One day that map will have to guide the young rhino when it travels through the landscape alone. The rhinoceros tests the wind before moving forward, because in thick scrub, what cannot be seen may be more dangerous than what is visible. As the mother and calf leave the frame, a pack of African wild dogs approaches the waterhole. Their patchwork coats make every individual unique, yet the true source of their strength is cooperation. They hunt as a team, share food, and support pack members that are injured or too weak to keep pace. Even while drinking, they continue to watch the surrounding grass. Water is essential, but the moment an animal lowers its head is also a moment of vulnerability. At the water's edge, survival depends on satisfying thirst without surrendering awareness. A pack of African wild dogs can change direction almost simultaneously, as though many bodies share a single thought. High-pitched calls and soft squeals keep them connected while they travel. When one animal detects danger, the entire pack responds. In the distance, however, lions have entered the scene. Dominance on the grassland is never guaranteed forever. Lions must defend territory, secure enough food, and avoid serious injury during every hunt. Even a small wound can prevent an individual from keeping pace with the pride. For that reason, patience may be more valuable than a rushed attack. A predator that survives is not simply the one willing to fight, but the one that knows when the odds are unfavorable. The lion advances slowly, head lowered and eyes fixed ahead. Every step conserves energy for the moment when speed may suddenly be required. But a predator is not always the only hunter watching a potential meal. Hyenas appear at the edge of the grass, capable hunters in their own right, and also ready to use food left by others. Their famous laughter is actually part of a complex communication system, carrying information about identity, status, location, and stress. Competition between lions and hyenas is constant because every carcass may influence whether cubs and weaker members of a clan survive. On these plains, strength matters, but numbers, timing, and coordination can change the balance in an instant. A hyena tests the wind for traces that human senses could never detect. Its powerful jaws can crush hard material that many other animals leave behind. Above, vultures begin to circle. They use columns of warm rising air to remain aloft for hours without constant wing beats. From great height, the descent of one bird may attract many others because it often signals the presence of food. Once on the ground, feeding order is shaped by size, strength, and boldness. Their work may not look graceful, but it is essential. Without vultures and other scavengers, carcasses would remain longer, bacteria would multiply, and disease could spread more easily through the animals sharing the same landscape. As the light changes, the vultures leave the ground and surrender the sky to sunset. An elephant becomes a dark silhouette against the falling sun. On the savanna, the image suggests immense power, yet an elephant's life still depends on fragile resources: water, vegetation, and the safety of its young. The trunk sweeps across the earth, reading scent and selecting branches. Massive feet create low vibrations that can travel through the ground. Elephants may detect some of these signals through sensitive structures in their feet, allowing them to sense the movement or calls of distant herds before those animals can be seen. Their world is connected by information moving through air, earth, memory, and touch. As the light changes, the vultures leave the ground and surrender the sky to sunset. An elephant becomes a dark silhouette against the falling sun. On the savanna, the image suggests immense power, yet an elephant's life still depends on fragile resources: water, vegetation, and the safety of its young. The trunk sweeps across the earth, reading scent and selecting branches. Massive feet create low vibrations that can travel through the ground. Elephants may detect some of these signals through sensitive structures in their feet, allowing them to sense the movement or calls of distant herds before those animals can be seen. Their world is connected by information moving through air, earth, memory, and touch. The elephant herd travels in an order built from experience. At its center is often an older female, a matriarch who remembers more droughts, roots, and dangers than any other member. When the herd pauses, calves rest or play under the supervision of several females. Care is not limited to the biological mother. Aunts, sisters, and younger females all participate, protecting calves while learning the skills they may need as future mothers. In an environment that changes from season to season, this family structure keeps knowledge alive even when an individual is lost. Each generation is guided by the memory of the one before it, and every safe journey becomes a lesson passed forward. From above, the elephants resemble gray shapes moving slowly across a green surface. Yet the routes they take can transform the land. Elephants open pathways through dense brush, scatter seeds, create space for grasses, and dig into dry ground where other animals may later find water. They do not simply live within an ecosystem, they help engineer it. Even so, every journey costs energy. Calves must keep pace, older animals must be given time, and the herd must reach water before the heat becomes dangerous. Their steady movement hides a race against distance, temperature, and thirst. What appears calm from the sky is, on the ground, a carefully managed struggle to keep every family member moving. As the elephants approach water, smaller family groups begin to converge. This may be one of the rare moments when many related herds meet. They greet one another by touching trunks, exchanging scent, and producing deep rumbles. Some low-frequency calls can travel much farther than ordinary vocalizations, helping elephants remain connected across open country. Calves stand beneath a forest of enormous legs, protected from sun and danger. For elephants, a waterhole is not only a point on a map. It is a social center where old relationships are renewed, unfamiliar individuals are assessed, and young animals experience a larger community. The gathering will eventually disperse, but the information exchanged here may influence where each family travels next. A young elephant attempts to copy the way adults use their trunks. The early movements are awkward, but after thousands of attempts, the trunk will become one of the most precise tools in the animal world. As the elephant herd leaves the shore, the water belongs once more to the hippopotamuses. They lie close together, competing for the deepest and coolest positions. Each time a head rises, the ears and nostrils open automatically, then close again when the animal sinks. The calm surface conceals constant adjustment below. Large bodies shift for space, calves remain close to their mothers, and the distance between two adult males may determine whether the group remains peaceful or erupts into conflict. Hippopotamuses dominate the shallows through size and determination. Near the muddy bank, however, another predator almost disappears into the scene. Only the eyes and upper snout of a crocodile remain above the surface. Its low body, textured skin, and ability to remain motionless allow it to approach without creating a clear warning. A crocodile does not need to pursue prey over a great distance. It waits until an animal enters striking range, then releases tremendous power in a few seconds. In an ambush like this, patience is as important as the jaws themselves. Every ripple is controlled, every position is chosen, and the attack will begin only when the opportunity is close enough to justify the effort. The crocodile moves with almost no visible wake. Its muscular tail drives the body forward while the legs remain close to reduce resistance. On shore, hoofed animals approach the water. They know danger may be waiting, but thirst has made retreat impossible. The leaders stop, stare, and test the air before stepping closer. An unusual movement, a sudden splash, or a bird rising without warning can send the entire herd running. This is a conflict between necessity and instinct. To remain alive, the animals must drink. To remain alive, they must also avoid the very place that provides water. For a few tense moments, every choice is measured against a threat that may be hidden only meters away. Buffalo reach the water in a group, using numbers to reduce the risk faced by each individual. Hippos hold the deeper areas, while crocodiles remain hidden in cloudy shallows. Each species occupies a different layer of the same crowded space, and the boundaries shift continuously. Out on the grassland, a long-legged hummingbird walks with measured steps, studying the ground instead of the sky. Powerful legs allow it to strike snakes, insects, and small animals concealed in the vegetation. While the giants of the savanna attract most attention, smaller predators are quietly regulating prey populations beneath them. The ecosystem is shaped not only by dramatic battles, but also by thousands of less visible hunts occurring close to the ground. The bird continues patrolling the open ground, where each footstep may expose prey hidden in the grass. High above, another hunter has selected an ideal position. A leopard lies along a branch, its spotted coat dissolving into broken sunlight and shadow. Climbing ability provides a secure place to rest and allows the cat to protect food from larger competitors. Unlike lions or wild dogs, a leopard does not depend on a group. It hunts, defends territory, and raises young through independence and secrecy. Every movement is economical because a failed hunt costs more than time. It spends precious energy, reveals the predator's position, and may alert every animal nearby that danger is present. From the tree, the leopard can survey a wide area without exposing its outline. When it descends to drink, that advantage disappears. The cat lowers its head slowly, but its ears continue turning toward the smallest sounds. Although powerful, a leopard must still avoid lions, hyenas, and unnecessary confrontation. Its rosetted coat breaks the shape of the body, allowing it to vanish into shade after only a few steps. The strength of this cat does not come from dominating every location. It comes from adaptation. In trees, on the ground, in open woodland, thick forest, or rocky country, the leopard finds a way to use cover, patience, and surprise to survive without attracting more attention than necessary. As the light fades, the leopard leaves its resting place and prepares for the hours when it hunts most effectively. The scene shifts to a broad lake beneath a darkening sky. Hippo heads rise one after another, breathe, and disappear again. With night approaching, the animals prepare to leave the water and graze on land. A hippopotamus may travel farther than expected, following trails formed by generations, but leaving the lake means entering open ground, darkness, and routes shared by other animals. The rules of the landscape change after sunset. Species that rested through the day become active, sight becomes less reliable, and every familiar path may hold a different risk than it did only moments before. A lion appears near the shore, but an adult hippopotamus is not an easy target. Its enormous jaws and long canine teeth can inflict devastating injury on anything that comes too close. The lion watches instead of attacking, searching for a calf, a wounded animal, or a clearer advantage. Where food is limited, predators must know when to withdraw. The hippo continues forward with an apparently slow gait, yet if provoked it can accelerate with startling speed. Distance between the two species is maintained through constant assessment. Which animal holds the advantage? Is either one willing to risk injury? On the savanna, survival often belongs to the animal that recognizes the cost of a mistake before making it. When many hippos gather in a small body of water, space becomes a valuable resource. Larger animals claim deeper, cooler positions while calves remain close to their mothers. Snorts, roars, and wide-open mouths do not always lead to combat. Most are warnings intended to establish limits before force is used. A serious fight can injure both animals, so displaying size and canine teeth is often enough to settle a dispute. Among the crowded bodies, small birds take advantage of the opportunity, searching for insects and edible material on skin and around the waterline. A tense gathering for one species becomes a feeding ground for another, showing how many different lives can depend on the same limited pool. The lake appears crowded, but every hippopotamus recognizes its place within the group. Females keep calves nearby, while adult males patrol boundaries through sound and scent. When one animal climbs onto land, its heavy body leaves deep tracks in the mud. Over time, these tracks become familiar routes linking the water to nighttime grazing areas. Hippos feed on grass on land, but they must return to water before the sun becomes intense. Their lives are divided between two worlds. Water protects the body from heat, while land provides the energy required to survive. Every night begins another necessary journey outward, and every dawn demands a safe return before exposure becomes dangerous. On land, the hippopotamus reveals its true size. Short but powerful legs support a body that can weigh several tons. Its skin loses moisture quickly, so time away from water must be carefully controlled. Natural secretions help reduce sun damage and limit bacterial growth, but they cannot replace regular immersion. Small eyes do not prevent the animal from detecting danger. Ears and nostrils remain active at all times. When a hippo stops and looks directly ahead, it is not an invitation to move closer. In the wild, recognizing a warning and respecting distance are the safest ways to prevent conflict. The animal's apparent calm can change immediately when it believes its route or access to water has been blocked. A widely open mouth is a display carrying serious meaning. It shows an opponent the size of the canine teeth and the damage they can cause, while offering one last opportunity to end the confrontation before physical contact. If the warning is ignored, a fight may erupt in seconds. Water explodes around massive bodies, animals push against one another, and the group separates. When the tension fades, small birds return to the hippo's backs, searching for insects and food caught on the skin. This informal relationship shows that nature is rarely built from competition alone. Cooperation can exist beside aggression, and the same animal that creates danger in one moment may provide food or protection for another species in the next. At the water's edge, a rhinoceros and a hippopotamus meet. Both are powerful, both can accelerate quickly, and neither is eager to surrender the path. They evaluate one another through posture, distance, and direction of movement. One steps forward while the other turns sideways to display its size. Yet rather than enter a dangerous fight, they often choose another route while that option remains open. Balance is maintained not because the species live in harmony, but because each animal understands the cost of injury. As the confrontation ends, the shape of an elephant appears. An even larger visitor is moving toward the water, forcing every animal nearby to reconsider its position. The elephant enters the water with the confidence of an animal that has few direct rivals. It sprays water over its skin and adds a layer of mud for protection from sunlight and insects. Smaller species keep their distance and wait for the giant to move on, but our journey does not end on the savanna. The landscape changes into another forest, separated from the mainland by ocean and evolutionary time. On ancient islands, animals have developed in ways found nowhere else on Earth. A branch moves gently, and a black and white shape appears in the canopy. This is the world of the lemurs, primates whose history has become inseparable from the forests of Madagascar. Young hippos learn to move between water and land by remaining close to their mothers. In deeper water, a calf may rest against her back or push upward to breathe. On shore, it watches how she selects grass and keeps a clear route back to the lake. This care continues long enough for the calf to understand the herd's complicated social structure. Not every animal is permitted to occupy every position. One wrong turn can place a youngster between two adults involved in a dispute. In a crowded group of hippos, one of the most important survival skills may simply be knowing which animal to follow, which pathway to use, and when to move aside before tension becomes aggression. Black and white lemurs spend most of their lives in the canopy, where hands and feet grip branches securely. Large eyes help them read a forest in which light changes from one moment to the next. They feed on fruit, leaves, and flowers, while carrying seeds across wide areas and helping the forest renew itself. Loud calls echoing through the trees are not signs of disorder. They allow groups to announce their location and defend feeding areas. On the ground, the lemurs become more vulnerable, so every decision to descend is made with caution. A safe branch may represent the only distance between them and a predator below, and a single route through the canopy can determine whether the group escapes. Leaving the water behind, two rhinoceroses follow a dusty track. They keep enough distance to remain comfortable, while continually testing scent and sound. Rhinos may use shared dung piles as information centers, where odor reveals which animals have passed, their sex, condition, and how recently they were present. When one rhino separates from the pair, the silence around it becomes even more important. Each ear can rotate independently to locate movement in the brush. Despite their enormous size, rhinos often avoid combat when another option exists. Fighting can break a horn, damage a leg, or prevent an animal from feeding. Sometimes survival is the ability to recognize a battle that offers no reward and quietly choose not to enter it. Leaving the water behind, two rhinoceroses follow a dusty track. They keep enough distance to remain comfortable, while continually testing scent and sound. Rhinos may use shared dung piles as information centers, where odor reveals which animals have passed, their sex, condition, and how recently they were present. When one rhino separates from the pair, the silence around it becomes even more important. Each ear can rotate independently to locate movement in the brush. Despite their enormous size, rhinos often avoid combat when another option exists. Fighting can break a horn, damage a leg, or prevent an animal from feeding. Sometimes survival is the ability to recognize a battle that offers no reward and quietly choose not to enter it. Whenever a lemur pauses to feed, it raises its head and checks the surroundings. In the forest, danger rarely announces itself clearly. A branch moving at the wrong rhythm, birds suddenly becoming silent, or an unfamiliar scent on the wind can all serve as warnings. Group members groom one another, removing parasites while strengthening social bonds. Young lemurs learn pathways through the canopy by following experienced adults. Every leap between branches requires accurate judgment of distance, grip, and landing position. A small error can lead to a dangerous fall. Here, agility is not entertainment, it is a condition of survival. The ability to move quickly and precisely keeps food within reach and predators at a safer distance. A group of brown lemurs gathers in the lower canopy. Their muted fur blends with bark and dry leaves, but camouflage does not make them invisible. On a fallen trunk, a fossa appears. A long body, powerful legs, and a balancing tail make it the most versatile predator in this forest. The fossa can run across the ground and climb directly into the trees, removing the boundary of safety on which many prey animals depend. As it lifts its head to sample the air, the forest seems to slow. Alarm calls spread through the canopy, warning the lemurs that a hunt may have begun. Every animal above must now decide whether to hide, climb higher, or leap away. The fossa advances without noticeably shaking the branches. Flexible joints and strong claws allow it to change direction quickly among trunks and limbs. It does not need to chase every possible target. It needs only to identify one animal separated from the group. Above, the lemurs respond with alarm calls and move toward thinner branches that are harder for a heavier predator to cross. A forest pursuit is a three-dimensional contest played across the ground, vertical trunks, and high canopy. The hunter must balance speed against the danger of falling, while the prey must choose between remaining still to stay hidden or jumping away and revealing its exact position. One decision may determine the outcome within seconds. When the fossa leaves the area, the lemurs slowly regroup. They check their young, call to separated members, and return to feeding. The immediate danger has passed, but its memory will influence every choice that follows. Then the canopy opens onto a different shade of green. From above, mangrove forest appears as bands of trees woven around channels of water. This is the boundary between land and sea, where roots trap sediment, weaken waves, and provide shelter for countless young animals. Each tide carries nutrients into the mud, transforming a harsh-looking environment into a nursery for the ocean. Life here depends on the daily movement of salt water, fresh water, soil, roots, and sunlight. Above the coral reef, sea turtles continue through blue light. From zebras on the grassland and elephants at waterholes, to gorillas in mountain forests, lemurs on islands, and turtles in the open sea, every animal faces the same challenge: find food, avoid danger, and carry life into the next generation. No species survives entirely alone. One animal's trail may open a path for another, and a coastal forest may protect a nursery beneath the water. Nature never promises an easy existence. Yet through every migration, warning call, birth, hunt, and breath, life continues forward. A small boat travels between strips of mangrove forest, revealing the true scale of the ecosystem. Roots rise from the mud like a living network, slowing water and trapping organic material. Young fish, crabs, and many invertebrates use the dense spaces between roots to avoid predators. Above them, birds find places to rest and feed. Mangroves also form a natural barrier that protects coastlines from storms, waves, and erosion. Beyond the green water, an even greater journey is taking place. Sea turtles move across the ocean, carrying a sense of direction that begins when they first leave the nest. Their route may extend far beyond any coast visible from the surface, guided by cues humans are only beginning to understand. Sea turtles glide through the water with slow, powerful strokes of their front flippers. Their bodies are designed for long-distance travel rather than sudden bursts of speed. Some individuals cross vast areas of ocean to reach feeding grounds, then return near the beaches where they once hatched. Beneath the surface, different species may feed on seagrass, jellyfish, sponges, or animals living on the seafloor, helping maintain balance within marine ecosystems. When two turtles swim side by side, the scene appears peaceful, yet the ocean still presents enormous challenges. Currents, storms, predators, fishing activity, and great distances between safe habitats. Every movement is part of a journey measured not in meters but in entire seas.